Tonight, we turn our attention to a border once celebrated as the world's longest undefended frontier, a symbol of peace and cooperation between two neighboring giants, the United States and Canada. For generations, this boundary has stood as a testament to trust, open trade, and shared values. But now, that same border has become the epicenter of a tense political standoff, marked by uncertainty and escalating tensions on both sides. The Alaska Highway, Alaska's only land link to the rest of the United States, has been abruptly closed by Canadian authorities, effectively isolating an entire American state overnight. The once busy route now sits eerily silent, its closure sending shockwaves through communities and governments alike. This isn't just a simple road closure, it's a dramatic rupture in a partnership that has shaped the very fabric of North America. The Alaska Highway, built during World War II as a symbol of unity and resilience, now stands as a stark reminder of how quickly alliances can be tested. The Canadian government's sudden and unexpected decision has left both nations reeling, creating a diplomatic crisis with potential global implications. News of the closure has dominated headlines, and the world is watching closely. In Alaska, the impact is immediate and deeply personal. Residents now face empty grocery store shelves, families separated by the border, and travelers stranded with nowhere to go. For many Alaskans, the future feels uncertain and precarious. Families gather around kitchen tables, anxiously studying maps and news reports, wondering what tomorrow will bring. The closure disrupts not only daily life, but also critical military logistics and national security planning. Even the Pentagon is forced to rethink its strategies as supply lines are cut and convoys halted. In Ottawa, officials cite a complex web of trade disagreements, environmental concerns, and security disputes as reasons for the drastic move. The ripple effects are being felt far beyond the border, impacting international relations and economic stability. Meanwhile, Washington's response has been swift, forceful, and at times furious. Urgent meetings and heated debates dominate the halls of power as leaders scramble to respond. Former President Trump is seizing the moment, using the crisis to demand immediate action and blaming the current administration for what he calls a failure of leadership and resolve. Tonight, we break down the history, the high-stakes politics, and the profound human cost of this unprecedented northern blockade, a crisis that could redefine the relationship between two of the world's closest allies. To grasp today's crisis, we must remember why the Alaska Highway exists. Built in World War II, it was a desperate response to fears of a Japanese invasion, an engineering feat uniting U.S. and Canadian forces. In just 8 months, thousands carved a 500-mile lifeline through wilderness, forging a bond between two nations. After the war, the highway became Alaska's main artery, fueling economies and connecting communities from Dawson Creek to Fairbanks. It brought tourists, goods, and opportunity, transforming the North. That's why Canada's closure is so shocking. A road built for unity now divides. The spirit of 1942, shared purpose and defense, has given way to political tension and economic pain. The highway, once a symbol of partnership, is now a weapon in a bitter dispute. This isn't just inconvenience, it's a break with history. How did two allies reach this point? The closure came without warning, an unexpected and sudden decision that left many in shock. An immediate order from Ottawa was issued, effectively shutting the Alaska Highway to U.S. trucks and travelers, leaving them stranded and confused. Officially, the government claims it's about border security and environmental review, citing concerns over unchecked crossings and ecological impacts. However, skepticism runs high among the public. Few believe that's the whole story, suspecting deeper political motives. Many see it as a retaliatory move against U.S. tariffs and new environmental regulations that have hit Canadian truckers hard, sparking protests and anger. Chaos erupted at border crossings. Trucks stranded, goods halted, and supply chains snapped, causing widespread disruption. Alaska's lifeline, which carries essential food, medicine, and vital equipment, was severed at the busiest time of year, threatening shortages. British Columbia reports that over 75% of Alaska's road freight passes through its territory, underscoring the state's vulnerability and reliance on this crucial route. Trudeau's government insists the closure is about asserting sovereignty and addressing unmet concerns, but the timing suggests a calculated political maneuver. By acting now, Canada aims to maximize pressure on both Alaska and Washington, hoping to force a favorable negotiation. The closure is a high-stakes gamble, forcing a confrontation with real consequences for both nations as diplomatic tensions rise. The question remains, who will blink first in this tense standoff? The world watches as negotiations unfold. The stakes have never been higher, with the potential for significant economic and political fallout looming large. The political fallout was instant and explosive. Former President Trump took to social media, calling the closure an act of hostility and slamming the administration for weakness. He demanded tariffs and even floated military options, turning a diplomatic crisis into a partisan brawl. The White House responded with urgency but caution, promising talks with Canada while critics accused them of dithering. Trump's rhetoric has cornered the administration, raising the stakes and narrowing options for diplomacy. What might have been a quiet negotiation is now a public spectacle, fueled by social media and political posturing. The pressure to act is immense, and the risk of escalation grows by the hour. This is no longer just a border dispute, it's a test of leadership in a hyper-partisan age. The world is watching how America responds. Will politics or pragmatism prevail? The economic shockwaves are immediate and severe. With the highway closed, nearly all goods must move by sea or air, costlier, slower, and less reliable. Shipping prices have soared, and Alaskans face higher costs for everything from groceries to gasoline. Industries, oil, mining, construction, risk grinding to a halt without critical supplies. The Port of Alaska can't absorb the sudden surge, creating bottlenecks and delays. Canadian communities along the route are also reeling, losing millions in tourism and trade overnight. The closure is a double-edged sword, hurting both economies and shaking investor confidence. The cost isn't just in dollars, it's in lost trust and stability. Beyond politics and economics, the human toll is mounting. Families like the Millers, stranded mid-move, face dwindling savings and uncertain futures. Truckers are out of work, military families are stuck, and seasonal workers can't reach jobs. For them, this isn't a chess match, it's a personal crisis. Communities on both sides are torn apart with cross-border ties abruptly severed. Medical visits, family reunions, and daily life are suddenly impossible. Alaskans feel isolated and vulnerable, their lifeline cut by a neighbor. The closure has shaken their sense of security and belonging. It's a stark reminder of how fragile these connections really are. To truly grasp the stakes of this unfolding crisis, we turn to Dr. Evelyn Reed, a leading authority on U.S. Canada relations. With decades of experience analyzing cross-border dynamics, Dr. Reed offers a unique perspective on the current standoff and its far-reaching implications for both nations. According to Dr. Reed, Canada's recent move is not a sudden reaction, but rather the culmination of years of simmering tension and a deliberate shift in its foreign policy approach. She explains that Canadian leaders have grown increasingly frustrated with what they see as American intransigence on key trade and security issues, prompting them to take a more assertive stance. By restricting access to the vital Alaska Highway, Canada is wielding a powerful bargaining chip. The government is betting that the economic pain and logistical headaches caused by this move will force the U.S. to the negotiating table and extract meaningful concessions on trade, tariffs, and cross-border cooperation. This is a classic case of asymmetric pressure. Canada knows it cannot match the sheer economic or military might of the United States, so it targets a strategic choke point, one that disrupts American interests without direct confrontation. It's a high-stakes gambit, akin to a chess player sacrificing a piece to gain a positional advantage. However, Dr. Reed cautions that this bold strategy carries significant risks. If the U.S. perceives the move as a threat to its sovereignty or security, it could escalate the situation, politically, economically, or even militarily. The gamble could easily backfire, leading to unintended consequences for both sides. The world is watching closely. If Canada succeeds, other nations might be emboldened to use similar tactics against larger powers. But if the U.S. responds too harshly, it could damage its reputation as a reliable ally and destabilize alliances across the globe. Dr. Reed emphasizes that only de-escalation and quiet, behind-the-scenes diplomacy can resolve this standoff. Open confrontation will only deepen the rift and make compromise more difficult. Both governments need a face-saving way out. Dr. Reed suggests that forming a joint commission and agreeing to reopen the highway as a precondition for talks could provide the necessary off-ramp, allowing both sides to claim victory at home. Yet, with political passions running high and leaders facing pressure from their own citizens, the space for rational negotiation is rapidly shrinking. Nationalist rhetoric and public anger threaten to box policymakers into uncompromising positions. This is a precarious and dangerous moment for the North American partnership, a relationship that has underpinned decades of peace and prosperity on the continent. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks will not only determine the outcome of this crisis, but will also shape the future of North America for generations to come. From Ottawa's view, this was a last resort after months of frustration. Canada's grievances, U.S. tariffs on lumber and new trucking rules that threaten billions in trade. Officials say they tried diplomacy, but Washington ignored them. Domestic pressure forced Trudeau to act, using the highway as leverage. Environmental and sovereignty concerns add political cover at home. But Canada knows it's playing with fire. A trade war would hurt it far more than the U.S. The hope-targeted pain will bring the U.S. to the table, not trigger all-out retaliation. It's a high-stakes bet on negotiation over escalation. The coming days will reveal if that gamble pays off. Tonight, the Alaska Highway remains closed, a symbol of crisis, not connection. The economic and human costs are clear, but the long-term damage to trust could be worse. Escalation would hurt both nations. Only calm leadership can break the deadlock. The U.S. and Canada have a history of overcoming challenges together. The solution starts with de-escalation. Canada reopening the highway, the U.S. addressing core disputes. This isn't about winning or losing. It's about restoring stability and partnership. The world is watching to see if these allies can resolve their differences as friends. We'll keep following this story as it unfolds. Thank you for watching.